the northern shores and woodlands to the west, it's history. From copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fishery, to the farmlands of the southern counties and east to Chesapeake Bay. Look at all that waits the sportsman across the USA. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, the stillness of the forest is encased in Arctic cold. The wind might whisper through the trees, listen to it say the beauty of our great outdoors across the USA.
Hi there, come on in. If you're a deer hunter, you're going to love this program. We're going to do highlights from our Big Buck Night. This is from Michigan's deer season 1989, and I'll tell you, all across the country, states set records for the deer harvest, the number of deer taken, and in our state, we set some records here on our own. Hunting and fishing awards for the size of big bucks. We have some bruisers, some great stories, so I hope you stay tuned. It's all coming your way. I'm Fred Trost. It's time for Outdoor Digest. Roger Hanselman from Mount Clemens took this buck, took it bow hunting. It's the biggest buck we have here on Big Buck Night with a bow. And you took this on what day, what part of the season?
It was the 5th of November, first weekend in November.
Now you live in Mount Clemens, but you hunt. This is another southern Michigan corn-fed bruiser. You count the points on it, we have 20 points. All the way across that are an inch or longer, and the outside spread, I believe you measured from this side to somewhere over in here, and we got a 22-inch spread on that. That's a terrific buck. You hunt a lot.
Yeah,
You're a veteran hunter.
I try.
Bow and gun. Tell me about this buck, which is probably your biggest.
Oh yeah, definitely my biggest. Well, I'd sat out there all morning and didn't see nothing. We were going back to the house, and my cousin decided, let's push this little swamp here. So he come through the swamp, and I was waiting at the other end.
That's a gun hunting technique.
Yeah, he said we probably won't do no good with our bows, but we did.
But what the heck? And he came running by you, walking by you, what?
He come walking out of the swamp. Well, a little 8-point come out first, and I missed him. I hit a tree instead. But then about 3 minutes later, he come walking out, and when I pulled my bow back, I spooked him. He took off running. But
you had to make a running shot?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. You must have been a little excited for all your deer hunting and all the years you've put in and all the bucks you've taken.
A little is not the word for it.
Is that right? Well, I tell you, that's a terrific buck. The biggest taken with a bow so far. Congratulations on that. Roger Hanselman, a terrific buck. And now we need a drum roll here. The second largest buck of tonight. I can't believe, come on in here, Steve Crocker. You're from Jackson.
Yes, sir.
It's unbelievable that this buck would be the second largest that we've seen this year. This has the points, how many points did we total on this?
18.
18 points with a spread. Get a load of this spread.
30 and 3/8.
30 and 3/8 because we take the outside spread all the way over to this tine. That is incredible. This buck scores higher than the top buck scores in most years. But you almost had him last year.
Yeah, he was within 10 yards of me last year, ball. He come right up out of the swamp, walking right at me. And I was hunting with a release and sights and stuff last year.
All the gadgets and gimmicks.
Yep. And I couldn't get the release snapped on the string. And he stopped 10 yards from me when I got it on.
You could probably hardly breathe. Your heart had to be pounding.
Yeah. And I knew right then with my bow down there was no shooting because he would stop and he'd seen me. And never seen him again last year.
And you have been living with this memory for a whole year. Now, of course, opening day wasn't too bad of a day. The second day of the season, folks, you remember, it was terrible. Snowing in the Upper Peninsula, raining in the Lower Peninsula. You didn't go hunting that day, did you?
The second day, yeah, we had snow.
That's when you got this one.
Yep, that's it.
What was the story on this day?
I got out of work at 3 o'clock, and I was deciding whether to go or not. And I said, well, what I'll do is I'll call my dad. If he wants to go, I'll go. I called him. He says, yeah. He says, let's go ahead and go out. So we got out, and we went through the fence, And he told me, he said, get in front of me and load your gun. So I got in front of him, loaded the gun, probably walked 50 yards, come charging right at us.
Again, this buck comes up to you.
Yeah.
But this time, you got him.
Yep. Yeah.
Man, look at this rack with the tines out here, the palmation, the width of 30 and 5/8, an incredible rack. And the thing is, you almost take the prize for the longest stretch without a buck. How many bucks does this make for your record book?
First one.
The first buck. How about that? Congratulations, Steve Crocker, the first buck. However, we have one story that's going to top you for the longest wait. It certainly isn't the biggest buck, but to Chuck Miller from Ferndale, this buck has special meaning. Now, Steve took 20 years to get his first buck.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been hunting, Chuck?
39.
How many bucks have you taken?
This is the first one.
The first one. How many bucks have you seen in that 39 years of deer hunting? Two?
Yeah. Last year I missed it.
You mean in your 38th year you saw your first buck, and in your 39th year you finally got one?
In the same spot.
Boy, I tell you, that's about the story of as much patience as anybody could ever have.
Yeah,
Do
well,
they kid you up at deer camp at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you really go out hunting?
Oh, certainly, yeah.
I mean, 39 years. Let me put a tape to this. Of course, we scored on the Stroh's method. You get 1 point for each antler tine, and we can stretch out here. I think we can give you 7 and 5/8, giving you a grand total of 9 and 5/8. How about that? But Chuck, I tell you, your hunting partners wrote us a letter and said you've just been the greatest guy over those 39 years, and congratulations, you've earned it.
Thank you.
Terrific. Chuck Miller. The biggest buck, but not necessarily the most experienced hunter, Mike DeRosa, come on in here. Look at the size of this rack. How many points?
30.
30 points. What's 30 antler points on this. A spread of 22.5, giving it an incredible score of 52.5. Mike DeRosa, you probably have many hunting tales to tell about your years in the woods. Back in the old days, how it was?
Yep.
Yep, Folks, this deer starts his old days. 14 years old, first year hunting. You know, you're going to be asked to do seminars all around the state to talk to groups of hunters and tell them how to get the big ones. So tell me, how did you get this one?
Well, I was sitting there early in the morning, and about 8:20, 8:30, I hear this noise coming from behind me. And all of a sudden I glance over and I see him sniffing the ground. And so I picked up my gun, aimed, I shot, I missed.
You missed?
I missed. The deer took off. It just took right off, and then my dad heard the shot, so he came and he asked me, well, where's the deer? I go, I missed the deer. And he was kind of angry.
Angry. Did you tell him, how big did you say it was?
Well, I just said it was an average because I didn't really pay much attention to how big it was.
That was an average buck that took off. Okay. So after your dad chewed you out a little bit,
Yeah. Then he looked around at the tracks, and it only ran for maybe 15, 20 yards. Then he noticed it started walking again. So he said, well, sit back down, maybe to come back. Thinking, never is he going to see that deer again. So my dad left, and I sat back down. About 5 minutes later, came right back, exact same tracks.
this buck?
This same exact buck.
Do you have any idea what it was sniffing or why it would come back?
Well, it was going to a scrape,
Oh, and you knew that scrape was there?
and I knew it was there.
Oh, excellent. Excellent hunting tip right there, hunting a scrape. So it came back, and then what did you do?
Well, I picked up, shot, and it dropped.
Oh, be darned. What a story. You know, poor Chuck Miller. You know Chuck that was up here, 39 years hunting. He's never seen this many points in the woods. Just this part of the rack. All his hunting life, and you got 30 points, 2 chances at it. Do you buy lotto tickets?
No.
You should. You honestly should. That is an incredible story. Look at this. 30 points. Mike DeRosa, you will be asked to talk about this, and I think it's an incredibly interesting story. Mike, congratulations. You have kicked off your hunting career in a phenomenal fashion. It's going to be all downhill from here. Okay? Good. That's a great wrap.
Here's a beautiful fish, a 21-pound, 9-ounce steelhead or rainbow trout. Albert Nastily caught this huge rainbow while trolling a rebel. He caught it in the morning about 11 o'clock. Todd Pryor has his hands full of carp, that is, 28 pounds worth, that he hooked using a dough ball. Now, Todd's catch came in mid-May. This carp was 34.5 inches long. Carol Sakaki was casting a jig and twister combination when she hooked this over 2-pound white bass. River fishing in the late afternoon was the ticket to catching this over 15-incher, another middle of May fish. Michael Campner has a truly trophy wild turkey. Michael called up this 10-inch bearded gobbler early in the morning. Its certified weight checked in at a whopping 21 pounds, 13 ounces. Ron Blair's buck has a beautiful rack with 13 antler points. It had a 20 3/4-inch outside spread, weighed 163 pounds, that is, an opening day buck taken with a shotgun at 8 a.m. Stephen Reed was bow hunting on opening day of his state's pheasant season when he took this 13-pointer at a 16-inch spread in the late afternoon. A farm country buck that weighed in at 152 pounds. And this buck seems to be all antlers. Bob Mattis stalked it, claimed it opening day. It had 10 points, a 20-inch spread, and weighed an official 162. That's 162 pounds, and what a rack. This northern pike is long and lean, 40.5 inches long. It only weighed 14 pounds, 6 ounces. David Markovich caught it casting a rapala in early December.
It was on December 8th. It was like 15 degrees out there. It was so cold that my eyelets were freezing on every second cast. Had to stop and unfreeze the eyelets so I can cast out. Finally, on the 4th cast, we hit. And he hit one time, and he circled around or something. About 5 seconds later, he just pulled my rod right in. I thought he was going to pull the rod right out of my hands. And I thought it was a snag at first. And then I pulled up, and it took him about 10 minutes to get up out of the water. And once he got up, it was fantastic. Once he got up on the water, I had a small little walleye net. And all of a sudden, this guy come running down with a big salmon. And he says, "No, let me get this." And it took about 15 minutes to bring it in. I was using 6-pound test line, too.
Joe Markovich, you tell a mean fish story and catch a lot of monster fish to back it up. Let us thank you for entertaining us by making you our Outdoor Digest Trophy Angler of the Week.
Is the dolphin a mammal or a fish? Both. One type of dolphin is a mammal, larger than a porpoise and a member of the whale family. The dolphin that is a fish is also called a dorado. It's brightly colored, battles spectacularly, is a favorite saltwater game fish, and is a gourmet food fish sold in restaurants under its Hawaiian name, mahi mahi.
Save Our Stream Banks, a survey of methods, is a brand new 21-page booklet that discusses how citizens can stop soil erosion on stream banks, an increasingly serious water quality problem in areas facing heavy development and human activity. High sediment levels in streams kill fish and aquatic vegetation, suffocate spawning beds, and carry heavy metals and pesticides from agricultural areas into fragile aquatic ecosystems. Produced by the Save Our Streams program of the Isaac Walton League of America, the booklet cost $1. Now, this booklet was written for any individual concerned about the health of local streams and stream banks, says Karen Firehawk, National SOS Coordinator. It basically outlines simple methods in great detail so anyone can decrease soil erosion and save fish and their habitat. To order the booklet or learn more about the Save Our Streams Banks program, contact the Isaac Walton League of America, Save Our Streams, 1401 Wilson Boulevard, Level B, Arlington, Virginia, 888-222-0209 or call them at area code 703-528-1818.
Betty Horn sent us a recipe for venison pasties. And pasties originated in the UP with the miners. They used to take them down into the mine with them and then heat them up on their little heaters down there. And this burger was processed at a regular processor. You can see it because it's got quite a bit of the fat and tissue in it. And you really do want to remove that. And then you're going to put onions in it and just fry this down pretty good. And then add rutabagas. And if this time of year rutabagas are hard to find, you can substitute with potatoes. And then you're going to add some green peas. Then the only other ingredients in this is a little bit of garlic, salt, and pepper. And I was kind of surprised that we didn't eat anything else. And then you do want this to cook just until the potatoes or rutabagas start to get just a little bit tender. You don't want to overcook them. Then you're going to roll out some crust, and you can use your processed crust or your favorite pie crust recipe. And fill each little pocket with a little bit of the mixture. And you could add carrots here if you wanted to for just a little bit of color. And then you want to seal this pretty good. You need to trim the edges and then seal it with water, seal the dough with water so that the steam doesn't escape too much and dry everything out and that the vegetables don't fall out. And once you add your water, then you will go ahead and crimp the edges to hold it all together. Then you do need to poke the top so that they don't explode, just so that a little bit of the steam does escape. Then you put them in the oven for about a half hour at a pretty high oven. They cook about 375. And then I was surprised at how they weren't really dry.
Well, as far as pasties go, they're probably one of nature's finest foods. But this pasty happens to be just absolutely incredible. No ketchup needed, no gravy, nothing. This is just great.
And that amazes me too, because when I look at it, it's got peas, potatoes, and
they look dry when you look at it.
They look dry.
You kept asking for the ketchup.
Oh yeah, I thought I'd have to put something on it.
Oh yeah, but you're not dealing with some generic pot pie, you know.
That's right.
12 for
That's
a buck right here. You're dealing with some very
Got
fine tasting
good
food.
stuff on the inside.
There's this crust around it. That pastry is great.
Yep.
That's what makes the pasty so. It really tastes so good. Good stuff.
Do you have two on your plate?
Do what?
This must be 12, 14 inches.
Just a tad over 14.
And how big was the deer?
It's only 180 pounds.
That's a good-sized buck. And what did you shoot him with? Slug?
12 gauge Remington.
Dropped him right there?
4 shots.
4 shots.
I happen to know, Howard, get this. Steve didn't know it was a buck.
Oh.
He was trying to fill his dough tag. Is that right, Steve?
Yes, it is. I was walking crossroads through a cornfield, heading back for lunch, and looked down one of the rows, and I saw a deer standing in crossways in the corn there, and its head was behind one of the rows, so I decided might as well shoot, maybe I'll get lucky. And I shot once and looked down the next row, and it was running away from me, and all I could see was horns, and it was knocking down 2 rows of corn with its horns as it went, and I put 3 more slugs in from behind before he went down.
Man. I'll bet you're going to have this mounted so you can look at it every day the rest of the year.
You bet.
Look at that 14-inch tine.
Never have I seen anything quite like it.
Isn't that incredible, Steve? You're one heck of a lucky hunter.
Thank you.
Golly. Thought it was a